Part 1. The Radiance of Balder. In the vast pantheon of Norse mythology, Balder shines as the god of light and purity, revered for his unmatched beauty and benevolence. As the son of Odin, the All-Father, and Frigg, the goddess of love and marriage, Balder was destined for greatness from his very birth. His presence illuminated the halls of Asgard, bringing warmth and joy to the hearts of gods and mortals alike. Yet, within the golden threads of his fate, the shadow of a tragic destiny loomed ever closer, one that would plunge Asgard into a time of unparalleled sorrow. Balder's life was a testament to the ideals he represented. His fairness and compassion earned him the love and respect of all who knew him. Even the natural world responded to his presence. Plants would blossom and animals would gather around him, sensing the divine essence he embodied. However, Balder was more than just a symbol of physical light. He was the moral beacon among the gods, his very essence embodying the struggle between good and evil that defined their existence. Frigg, his devoted mother, was deeply protective of her radiant son. Haunted by foreboding dreams of Balder's demise, she sought to shield him from the perils that threatened his life. Driven by a mother's fierce love, she traversed the realms, extracting promises from every element of creation to never harm her beloved child. Stone, metal, water, and fire all swore an oath to do no harm, fortifying Balder with a seemingly impenetrable safeguard against the fate that awaited him. Yet, amid this blanket of protection, a single oversight would seal Balder's doom. Frigg had overlooked the humble mistletoe, deeming it too insignificant to pose any threat. This seemingly minor detail would be the chink in Balder's armor, a fatal flaw that Loki, the trickster god, would exploit with devastating consequences. Thus, the stage was set for one of the most heart-rending tales in Norse mythology, a story of love and betrayal that would echo through the ages. Balder's invulnerability soon became a source of amusement for the gods, a testament to their creative power and Frigg's boundless love. In the grand halls of Asgard, they would often gather to test Balder's resilience, hurling weapons and stones that bounced harmlessly off him. These games, however, masked a deeper unease, a premonition that Balder's safety was but a fragile illusion. The gods' laughter rang hollow, for they knew that in their world of perpetual conflict, even the brightest light could be extinguished. As the gods reveled in their festivities, the seeds of tragedy were sown. Loki, ever the instigator, watched these events with keen interest, his cunning mind plotting a dark course. Driven by jealousy and malice, he sought to bring about Balder's downfall, to shatter the illusion of invincibility that surrounded him. Loki's schemes were always insidious, weaving through the fabric of Asgardian life like a serpent, poised to strike at the most opportune moment. Loki's chance came on a day like any other, as the gods gathered for their usual sport. Disguised as an old woman, he approached Frigg and cunningly pried from her the secret of Balder's vulnerability. Feigning concern and empathy, Loki extracted the knowledge that mistletoe alone had not sworn an oath of protection. Armed with this fatal knowledge, Loki's plot to end Balder's life took a sinister turn, one that would lead to irreversible consequences. With malevolent glee, Loki crafted a slender dart from the innocent-looking mistletoe. It was a weapon of paradoxical simplicity, its frail appearance belying the devastation it would soon unleash. Concealing the dart, Loki joined the gods' gathering, where laughter and merriment flowed freely. His eyes gleamed with a dangerous glint as he approached Höðr, Balder's blind brother, who stood apart from the others, unable to join in their games. Höðr's blindness was not just a physical affliction, but a metaphorical veil, shielding him from the knowledge of his own role in the impending tragedy. Loki, ever the manipulator, approached him with words of deceitful kindness, offering him a chance to participate in the gods' revelry. "Take this," Loki said, pressing the mistletoe dart into Höðr's hand, "and join the fun. Let me guide your aim, so you too may honor your brother with this jest." Unwittingly, Höðr obeyed, his trust in Loki leading him to perform the act that would shatter Asgard's joy. As he threw the dart, guided by Loki's hand, it flew true and struck Balder in the heart. Silence descended upon the hall as the light in Balder's eyes dimmed, and he crumpled to the ground. The gods stood frozen in shock and horror, their laughter turned to cries of anguish. The radiant god, the beacon of light and purity, had fallen, leaving a void that nothing could fill. Baldur's death was more than a personal loss. It was a harbinger of the doom that awaited the gods. The prophecy of Ragnarok, the end of all things, was set in motion by his passing. His mother, Frigg, wailed in despair, her heart shattered by the death of her beloved son. Odin, too, was consumed by sorrow, knowing that Baldur's death was the first step towards the twilight of the gods. The heavens wept, and the world grew darker as the light of Baldur faded from the realms. The gods' grief was immeasurable, their sorrow echoing through the halls of Asgard and beyond. Each deity mourned in their own way, their hearts heavy with the weight of their loss. Even Loki, the architect of this tragedy, felt a pang of remorse, though it was buried deep beneath his layers of deception and pride. Baldur's funeral was a somber affair, a ceremony that brought together gods and mortals alike in a collective expression of grief and reverence. As Baldur's body was laid upon his ship, Hringhorni, and set aflame, the flames reached towards the sky, a beacon of loss and remembrance. The gods sent their offerings and prayers, hoping to guide Baldur's spirit to Hel's realm, where he would await the final battle of Ragnarok. His wife, Nanna, overwhelmed by grief, joined him in death, her heart unable to bear the separation. Thus, the ship bore them both into the afterlife, leaving a void that would forever change the fabric of the Norse cosmos. Frigg's sorrow knew no bounds, and in her desperation she sought to bring Baldur back from the dead. She begged Hel, the ruler of the underworld, to release her son, offering anything in return. Hel, moved by Frigg's plea, agreed to release Baldur on one condition: every creature in the universe must weep for him. Frigg's hope was rekindled, and she dispatched messengers to every corner of the realms, seeking tears to bring her son back. The universe wept for Baldur, from the gods to the tiniest creatures, each shedding a tear for the fallen god of light. Yet, in a cruel twist of fate, Loki, disguised as a giantess named Thuk, refused to weep, declaring that Baldur was no use to her. This single act of defiance condemned Baldur to remain in the underworld, and the gods' hope for his return was dashed. Hel's condition was unmet, and Baldur's spirit lingered in her cold realm, a prisoner until the day of Ragnarok. Baldur's death left a lasting mark on Asgard and its inhabitants. The gods, once united in their joy and strength, were now fractured by grief and the looming threat of their ultimate fate. The bond between them weakened, and suspicion and fear crept into their hearts. The prophecy of Ragnarok loomed ever closer, its inevitability highlighted by the tragic loss of their brightest light. Loki's role in Baldur's death did not go unpunished. The gods, enraged by his treachery, captured him and devised a fitting retribution. Bound to a rock with the entrails of his own son, Loki was left to suffer the venom of a serpent dripping onto his face. Sigyn, his loyal wife, stayed by his side, catching the venom in a bowl to spare him some agony. Yet, when the bowl filled and she turned away to empty it, the venom would burn him anew, causing the earth to tremble with his pain. Baldur's death and Loki's punishment were preludes to the greater conflict that awaited. The gods knew that Ragnarok would bring about the end of their world, a cataclysmic battle where old bonds would break and new realms would emerge. Baldur's story, a tale of light and darkness, love and betrayal, was a poignant reminder of the cyclical nature of life and death. It stood as a testament to the enduring power of myth, weaving together the threads of destiny that define the Norse cosmos. As we recount the story of Baldur, we are reminded of the delicate balance between light and shadow, joy and sorrow, that defines our own lives. His tale resonates through the ages, a beacon of hope and a warning of the perils that lurk in the darkness. The death of Baldur is not just a story of loss, but a profound reflection on the inevitability of change and the enduring spirit of resilience that lies within us all. Part 2. The implications of Baldur's death. Baldur's death reverberated through the 9 realms, casting a shadow over Asgard and deepening the sense of foreboding that hung over the gods. This tragic event was more than a personal loss. It was a harbinger of a cataclysmic future. The golden age of Asgard, marked by relative peace and prosperity, was swiftly drawing to a close. The sorrow of the gods was not only for the loss of their beloved Baldur, but also for the grim reality that his death signaled, the approach of Ragnarok, the prophesied end of the world. The prophecy of Ragnarok foretold a series of events that would lead to the ultimate destruction and rebirth of the cosmos. Baldur's demise was the first domino to fall, setting into motion a chain of occurrences that would culminate in a final apocalyptic battle. The gods knew that with Baldur's light extinguished, the stability of their world was irreversibly compromised. The balance between order and chaos, which they had maintained with great effort, began to tilt towards darkness. Odin, the wise and all-seeing All-Father, felt the weight of these events most acutely. As the chief of the Æsir, it was his duty to foresee and prepare for the challenges that lay ahead. Baldur's death struck at the heart of his greatest fears, the inevitability of fate and the limits of his power. Despite his immense wisdom and the sacrifices he had made to gain knowledge, even Odin could not alter the course set by destiny. His heart was heavy with the knowledge that his beloved son's death was just the beginning of their trials. The god's sorrow was compounded by the realization that Loki, once a trusted companion, had orchestrated Baldur's demise. Loki's actions were a profound betrayal, shaking the very foundations of their trust and camaraderie. His cunning and malice had pierced through their defenses, exposing the vulnerabilities that lay beneath their divine veneer. The gods now saw Loki not just as a trickster, but as an agent of chaos, a harbinger of their eventual downfall. In the aftermath of Baldur's death, the gods convened to discuss the future. The bonds that had once united them in joyous celebration were now strained by grief and the looming threat of Ragnarok. Thor, the mighty protector of Asgard, vowed to defend their realm with every ounce of his strength. He knew that the time would come when he would face his own destiny in the final battle. His heart, though heavy with sorrow for his fallen brother, burned with determination to stand against the encroaching darkness. Frigg's sorrow was a palpable presence, her grief echoing through the halls of Asgard. She had lost more than a son, she had lost a part of herself. The radiant light that Baldur brought into her life was gone, leaving a void that could never be filled. Her pain was compounded by the knowledge that her efforts to protect him had ultimately failed. As she wept for Baldur, she also wept for the world that would never again bask in his warmth and purity. The other gods, too, grappled with the implications of Baldur's death. Heimdall, the ever-vigilant guardian of the Bifrost, sharpened his senses and prepared for the inevitable onslaught. His keen eyes scanned the horizons, searching for signs of the coming storm. He knew that his role would be crucial in the days to come, as the bridge to Asgard would be the first line of defense against the forces of chaos. Freyr, the god of fertility and prosperity, felt the shadows creeping into his domain. The earth, once fertile and abundant under his watch, seemed to lose some of its vibrancy. The crops, animals, and lands he nurtured began to show signs of decline, reflecting the growing imbalance in the cosmos. Baldur's light had been a source of life and renewal, and without it, the natural world started to falter, mirroring the turmoil within the divine realm. Even the usually stoic Tyr, the god of war and justice, found himself deeply affected by Baldur's passing. He knew that the coming battles would test his strength and resolve like never before. Baldur's death had not only robbed Asgard of its light, but also shifted the balance of power among the gods. Tyr understood that his role as a warrior and a judge would be more critical than ever as they faced the trials ahead. Baldur's absence was keenly felt across Midgard, the realm of mortals. Humans who had worshipped and revered him mourned his loss alongside the gods. Temples and shrines dedicated to Baldur became places of sorrow and remembrance. The stories of his kindness and fairness were retold with a sense of longing, a yearning for the days when his light still graced their world. The mortal realm, like the divine, was left to grapple with the void left by his untimely death. As the gods navigated their grief and prepared for the challenges to come, a profound shift took place within Asgard. The once vibrant and joyous realm grew somber and introspective. Each god reflected on their role in the grand tapestry of fate, aware that the threads were unraveling towards an inevitable conclusion. The loss of Baldur was a stark reminder of their mortality, a truth that even the gods could not escape. The story of Baldur's death and the subsequent mourning was not just a tale of personal loss, but a critical turning point in Norse mythology. It highlighted the fragility of even the most powerful beings and the inexorable march of destiny. The gods, once seemingly invincible, were now painfully aware of their vulnerability. They understood that their existence was bound by the same fate that governed all things, and that their end, like Baldur's, was inescapable. Loki's role in Baldur's demise would forever mark him as an outcast among the gods. His actions, driven by envy and spite, had severed any remaining ties of loyalty and friendship. As he languished in his bonds, tormented by the serpent's venom, Loki's fate was a grim reminder of the consequences of his treachery. His punishment, though severe, could not undo the damage he had wrought. The gods knew that Loki's legacy would be one of betrayal and chaos, casting a long shadow over their final days. In the quiet moments following Baldur's death, the gods contemplated the future. They knew that their destiny was intertwined with the fate of the world, and that Baldur's passing was a pivotal moment in the unfolding saga of Ragnarok. As they faced the prospect of their own demise, they drew strength from the memories of Baldur's light and the hope that even in the darkest of times, there was a promise of renewal and rebirth. The death of Baldur, the god of light and purity, serves as a poignant chapter in the rich tapestry of Norse mythology. It is a story that resonates through the ages, reminding us of the delicate balance between light and darkness, joy and sorrow, and the inescapable cycles of life and death. As we reflect on Baldur's fate, we are reminded of the enduring power of myth to illuminate our understanding of the world and our place within it. Baldur's legacy, though marred by tragedy, endures as a symbol of hope and resilience. His light, though extinguished, continues to inspire those who remember his story. In the face of impending doom, the gods of Asgard draw strength from his memory, preparing for the final battle with the knowledge that even in the darkest of times, the promise of a new dawn remains. I hope you enjoyed this incredible story. We're eager to hear what you thought about the topic of this video, so don't hesitate to share your opinions and ideas in the comments below. We want to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Here, we always dive into epic stories, fascinating curiosities, and much more. And to make sure you don't miss our upcoming videos, hit the notification bell. See you next time, and thanks for watching.